All right, Aaron, you ready for our next guest?
Oh, I'm so ready.
Elvis
One of
time.
my favorite shows.
Yeah, it's a great one. Premiered on Netflix back on April 6th. It's The Big Show Show,
Yes.
and one of the featured stars on the show, besides, obviously, The Big Show Paul Wight, would be Reylynn Caster, who plays the daughter of The Big Show, Lola Wight. Reylynn, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Great. I like always saying, how are you, as if we didn't just start talking.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking a couple minutes ago.
You guys asked each other how you were four
Yeah.
times before
Yeah.
we started recording.
I'm pretty sure that's accurate.
I was laughing about it when I was in the room. But,
Oh my
great
god.
to have you on the podcast. My kids are going to go crazy. Right now they're
Oh my gosh.
vacation with their mother, but as soon as they come back, I'll be the dad of the year and the hero.
That's amazing.
So,
I'm so glad they liked it.
The Big Show Show was trending for a few weeks in the top 10 on Netflix, and this is your first deal on something like Netflix. I mean, this has got to be a surreal experience for you.
Yeah, I mean, it feels unreal. It's been incredible. I cannot believe the feedback that we've gotten.
Yeah, it seems to be all positive. I watched the show because I'm a big fan of sitcoms from back of the day, and I really fell in love with Fuller House on Netflix. It's one of my favorite shows. And when I started watching The Big Show Show, I saw a lot of similarities between the two shows. So just like I can only imagine all the feedback has been overwhelming.
It really has been. I just so many messages, and they've almost like 95% positive. So it's just been incredible.
Yeah, that's awesome. So obviously you had to take a journey and a path to eventually get to where you are with this opportunity on Netflix with The Big Show Show. So, I was reading a little bit about you, and you actually grew up in Kansas, and eventually after doing some self-tape auditions, one of which for the Logan Wolverine film, you ended up moving out to LA with your family. So just tell me about that process and almost like what the culture shock would have been from moving from somewhere like Kansas to Los Angeles.
Yeah, it was a huge change. So yeah, I did a self-tape for the movie Logan, and an agency out here in California saw it and wanted to sign me because of it. And I was doing self-tapes back home for like projects, but it kept coming down to they love you, but they want to hire someone who lives in the LA rather than fly someone out from Kansas. So we eventually decided to just take the leap, and we moved across the country. I was going into 8th grade. So it was like my final year of middle school. It was a huge change because Kansas versus LA is like, it's very different. Just the crowd of people, but I've adjusted really, really well. I've made some like incredible friends. I love it here.
And what about the situation with your parents? Like when you start to want to pursue acting, you have this opportunity to potentially move out to LA. Was it like a huge thought process of whether or not they should do this or not, or were they just 100% behind you and it was no questions asked? If we need to go out to LA, let's do it.
Yeah, they've always been my number one supporters, and they've always been like, they've just been so supportive. So when they saw that how serious I was about acting, it wasn't really a question. They just started looking for places out here. And I mean, I think it was my dad's idea. I don't even think I brought it up. And my dad was like, if you want to do this, let's do it. And so I'm just really grateful for that because they've always been so supportive.
That's awesome. And support is such an important thing with your parents.
Very, very important. Yeah.
Next level. Now, you did a lot of work. Did you start out working at doing plays and things of that nature before you actually transitioned into the commercials and things of that nature?
Yeah. So I started with theater, the Scottish Rite Theater in Kansas. I think my first play ever was Sleeping Beauty. I played like a chipmunk. Yeah. So yeah, I started in theater, and then I gradually moved to commercials, and then I started doing like indies back in Kansas. I did a couple movies, and it's just kind of grown from there.
Now, Aaron, you have drama experience from your plays as a child, correct?
Yes. I started off with The Wizard of Oz.
Mm-hmm.
That was Uncle Henry.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I don't know. I thought I was going to go somewhere.
Do you have a particularly forgettable role that you did before you got your big role in Netflix?
What was that? What was the question?
Did you have a particularly forgettable role or something that you weren't comfortable playing or didn't really care for too much?
Not really. I just like every project that I'm a part of, I feel like I've fallen in love with, no matter what it is, because I just love acting so much. I've never played a character and not felt that it was important. So yeah, I don't think I've had a forgettable character. I mean, I guess I was in one of the theater shows that I did. For Aladdin, I was the flying carpet. I like held onto the side of the carpet and like I was dressed in all black and I like had to move it around. I feel like that one was a little bit forgettable. I don't know if I would get any like big recognition for that.
Yeah, for me, that would have been like one of my most notable roles is just flying carpet.
Yeah.
No way you could possibly mess that up.
No, there's just absolutely no way.
No lines, no nothing. You're just
Nothing.
a carpet.
I just had to move.
So tell me about the process for you to get on the Big Show for Netflix. It basically, you were, from my recollection, you were given a script for an untitled multicam sitcom, and it kind of just blossomed from there. So tell me about that.
Yeah, so I just got the sides, so my audition scenes. I didn't even get the script for the show. I just got the breakdown and what they gave me in the scenes. So I didn't know like too much about the character and I just kind of had to wing it. And so it started out, I went to an audition and I did my thing and they seemed to really like me. So they called me back and I met with the showrunners and some of the producers. And that's actually a really funny story because I had friends in town when I did that. And we were going to Melrose. It's like this really cool like shopping place. And my dad was like dropping us off on Melrose immediately after I had come from that producer session. And I like got out of the car and as I'm walking away, my dad just starts honking the horn like crazy. I turn around, I'm like, what is going on? And he told me that I had a screen test like a couple days later for it. It was all very, very quick paced. So I had the screen test and I went in for like a million people. And like that, I went to the Netflix building and went to like one of the floors and there was a ton of people. It was pretty nerve-wracking. But I read with like some of the sisters. In fact, one of the girls on the show, Juliet Donenfeld, I read with that day and they must have loved our chemistry because they booked both of us. And yeah, July 3rd. So a couple days from now would be exactly a year that I found out that I got the part.
July 3rd, correct?
Yeah.
That's awesome. And how important is chemistry when you talk about the chemistry you had with the girls on the show? Like when you're going in for a screen test or something of that nature, like chemistry is essential in helping land that role.
Yeah. It's so incredibly important. So we were all kind of running lines together because we knew they were going to chem read us. So we all ran lines together to try to like build some form of chemistry. We were all talking. It was a really great environment. You know, some audition rooms can be kind of cold because everyone's competing for the same part, but no, it was a really good environment. And chemistry is just it's one of the key factors to a show. If the actors don't have good chemistry, the show won't work. So it's really, really important.
Did you feel the chemistry right away? Did you say, hey, I think we may have something here?
Totally. Especially with that day that I screen tested, especially with the little one, Juliet. I was just like, she is incredible. I love her. And I'd only met her I met her at the screen test, and then after I got the part, I helped them cast the mom on the show and the middle sister. So I came in and chem read with the other two, and she, like Juliet, even not knowing me for one other separate occasion, she like came over and like sat on my lap, and we were just like hanging out. It was so sweet.
That's awesome. Now going into it, you didn't know that this project was for Netflix. You just knew it was for some streaming service.
No, it was a streaming service. Yeah, I didn't even know it was Netflix.
So do you think the pressure for you would have been heightened if you would have knew it was for Netflix? Or do you think like you still would have had your A game?
No matter what, I try to bring my A game, but I feel like internally I would have had more pressure on myself because what's really funny is I had like 3 goals for 2019 and that specific role completed every single goal. It was, I think it was get a call back for Netflix, screen test for a multicam, and work for Netflix. So to get all of those in one go was really crazy. So, and when I was going through it, I didn't know at first that it was for Netflix, so I didn't know that I was completing those goals at the time.
That's really cool. Now going into this ends up being your first multicam type production. So talk to me about the differences between doing the Big Show and the way that that's filmed compared to things that you've done in the past.
Yeah, so multicam versus single cam it's pretty different. Multicam is a lot heightened. There's a very specific pace that you have to keep with the lines that you're delivering. And also there's a live audience. So with single cam, there's 4 walls. It's all very personal. There's just the people in there, like the boom guy and the cameraman and all of those people in there. But other than that, it's just you contained in the scene. But with multicam, there's only 3 walls and it all faces out to an audience. And there's just this huge audience. We rehearse Monday through Wednesday. We do all our pre-shoots Thursday, so anything we can't film in front of a live audience. And then Fridays were our live audience days, and those were unlike anything other. The crowd just, it brings an insane energy that's like absolutely no other. And yeah, it was really great. I loved working on multicam.
That's all. Now, how many people roughly are usually in attendance for something like that?
Probably like, oh my gosh, I don't know. We got really big crowds, probably around like 100 something. Like there were quite a few seats in the audience.
And this is your first time working in front of a live crowd.
Yeah. So that first initial take on the first scene of the first episode we filmed, I was like really nervous. I like didn't let it show, but I was really nervous. And then the second that we like got that first scene out of the way, my like mindset completely shifted, and it was just so fun. It was so fun because they're playing music in between takes, and the crowd is like, they would get up and like dance and stuff, and they would like interact with us, and it was so cool to watch. And also to hear them like laugh at the jokes that we're delivering as we're delivering them, and knowing which joke lands and which one doesn't is always like really, really fun. And to have the writers will be there like with alternative jokes that they'll like fly in and you have to deliver them on the spot. It's crazy.
And
Hey,
go ahead.
sorry. So how was Big Show with all this? Because I mean, he has a ton of live crowd experience with, I don't know, 70,000 at WrestleMania. So like everything he does is improv there.
Yeah.
And there's some, rehearsed lines that he has for wrestling. Did he walk in and command the room?
Oh, he was great.
Yeah.
No, he was absolutely incredible. He really fit with multicam. I'd never seen him act before. I didn't know that he's hilarious, and he knows every beat to take. He's incredible at delivering his lines. It was a really cool experience to see. And he's just also such a great person. And with the crowd too, he would like talk to them and really make them feel included. So yeah, he was great for multicam.
Now, going into this, you know that a pro wrestler is a part of the show. When it ends up being the Big Show and you see this literally larger than life character, obviously it was probably overwhelming, but your first scene with him, if I'm correct, was in episode 4. You guys filmed the cook-off scene, and that had a whole bonding experience for you guys, right? I mean, that was one of my favorite scenes in the whole show.
Right.
That was one of my favorite scenes to film. In fact, it might be my favorite. Like that whole episode, it was just us going head to head, and it was our first time working together. So it really was, I feel like that was really crucial for our bonding. I'm really happy that was the first thing that we did, because we were going head to head the whole time. It was really intense. And there was also a lot of like emotions flying. It was really great. That was my favorite to film. In fact, while filming when he pied me in the face, that was so fun to film too. Oh my gosh. But it was not in the script that he was supposed to cry in that scene. And if you watch it back, you can see that he starts getting teary-eyed because it just naturally came to him. He related to the scene so much with his real daughter. And there was pie all over my face, so he told me that I actually like looked like his daughter because he could only see my eyes. It was really sweet. I was terrible. I could not stop laughing because there was pie at my nose and he was crying. It was a lot.
You gave me goosebumps on that. I love hearing it. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Of course.
I mean, he plays your father on the show to you and the girls, but I heard in a lot of other interviews that he was really like almost like a dad-like figure to you guys offset. He took you guys to an Ariana Grande concert. I mean, like,
Yes,
what?
like front row. Front row. We had like this room backstage. It was the craziest experience ever. But yeah, he really was like a father figure, especially to my two little sisters on the show, really. And to me, he was like another father figure, but also like a friend. Like we talked about, like very friendly. We were like very joking around, but also I could depend on him on anything. I could text him at any moment. In fact, I took my like license test in real life, and he like called me beforehand and was like calming me down because I was so nervous, and like I couldn't whistle for an audition that I had to do, and I had to be able to whistle, and he called me and tried to teach me how to whistle. Like he's just so incredible.
I love this story.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting question that I was thinking about. Obviously, Big Show being over 7 foot tall, I would imagine that maybe some of the shots would have to have been framed a little differently. So were there any like difference in framing the shots because he's literally a giant? Did you have to stand on boxes? Did anyone on the show had to like stand on stuff to make them look taller or anything like that?
Yeah, so we didn't use a lot of Apple boxes on the show. It was mostly just like camera angles. I know that show like always had a designated camera to him because our heads would be cut off if not. So because there were multiple cameras, I think there were 4 cameras. So he always had his camera, and then it was a lot of blocking, a lot of scenes. Like I would stand on like a step if we like a little elevated, or like one of the scenes when I had a boyfriend, that one, we had a scene where we were having like a heart to heart moment about it, and I was standing, there was like the floor was uneven, so I was standing on like the elevated part because yeah, it was difficult to fit everyone in the camera at once.
Yeah, I can imagine. And you interacted with a lot of other wrestlers that guest starred on the show. One episode in particular was Rikishi, Mick Foley, and Mark Henry. Talk to me about your experiences interacting with those guys for the first time.
They were so cool. They were so awesome. It was also really cool to see like those wrestlers in show who are like friends like act together, and they were so talented. The lines that were written for them were great, and they just delivered them so well. Like I was so blown away by their talent. Yeah, they were really talented, and they were also so nice and like so welcoming, and they fit really well on the show. I really hope that we have them back if there's a season 2.
Hey, I want to ask real quick. A scene I liked a lot was Big Show ripping up the phone book.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that was a real thing.
Yeah, he ripped it in front of me. I watched him rip it. It was crazy. And the guy who played my boyfriend on the show, he was also a fan of the Big Show beforehand, and like I just know he was like freaking out internally watching him rip that phone book.
And he's wearing the championship belt, and
yeah, it was
great.
It was a lot for him, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Now, you didn't watch professional wrestling before you end up landing the Big Show, so you didn't really know much about the industry. But now that you're part of the show and you've met some of the guys, are you watching the product now? And do you have, based on acting with them and like how those guys pretty much performed on stage, do you have a new appreciation for professional wrestlers and what they do as improv artists, as stuntmen?
Totally. Yeah. No, they go like, they are such hard workers. Watching the way that Show would like diet and work out, and just his work ethic in general was just, it was crazy to see. And every single professional wrestler that I have met have been some of the nicest people I've ever met in my entire life. And they're like these huge guys who are like beating each other up, but they just are the ultimate softies. It's hilarious. Yeah, no, I totally have a newfound appreciation for wrestling, and I like to keep up with it, especially when Big Show's on.
That's awesome. And you actually had the opportunity to work a little bit with Shad Gaspard, who, as we all know, tragically passed away on May 17th in a heroic effort to make sure that his son's life was saved. And, it was sad for the wrestling community, but it was a worldwide news story. And, tell me about your experiences with Shad and just what you think of him as a human being based on your experiences.
He was so fun to be on set with. He only did one scene with us, but those like few days that he was there, he just brought such a great energy and such a great light. He was so nice. And he was just really great to work with. It's so devastating to hear what happened. And I knew then that he was an incredible person. And I know now, I mean, he lost his life saving his son, which is absolutely incredible. And it's heartbreaking, but he's great.
Yeah, a real hero for sure.
Yeah, he truly is a hero.
Talk to me about the difference between Reylynn and Lola, or was there a lot of similarities?
There were quite a few similarities. And especially as the character developed, I was like talking to the writers. I kept asking the writers, like, did I mention this to you before that I like these things, or did you just guess this? Because like I have done probably 50 escape rooms, and the fact that there was an escape room episode, I'm like obsessed with escape rooms. So when I read that, I was like, did I mention to you that I literally do them all the time. I'm also extremely competitive in a healthy way, but I'm definitely a very competitive person, and so is Lola. She's very competitive. She's also there was in the last episode a line that I said, I like punch him. Show and I are having a heart to heart, and I punch him. I say feelings make me punchy or something like that, and that's totally something I've said. Like, I've definitely done that before.
That's do you have a favorite escape room based on the over 50 that you've done?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I think, okay, there are two. So I did one it was called Quest Room, and it was called Cannibal's Den. I do scary escape rooms.
Okay.
This one was called Cannibal's Den, and the reason why I liked that one so much was it was very practical. So it was more like, if you were in this situation, what would you do? It was less puzzles, less mind games, and it was more realistic. So I really, really liked that. And then there was also another one. We drove to Anaheim to do it with my friends. It was called Zoe, and it's supposed to be the scariest escape room in all of America. And they like put a bag over your head, and they walk you into this like pitch black room, and there's actors in there that can touch you, and like it was so scary. And like one of the vivid memories from that was the puzzles themselves were pretty easy, but it was the circumstance that we were put in. So we got a key, we got like a simple house key, and we had to run down a hallway and unlock the door. But we also had a guy busting out of the door with an axe running after us.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we're running full speed down the hallway. My friend Armani had the key, and he was trying to get into the keyhole, and I'm screaming like, open the door, like go. And I'm like banging on the door.
Yeah.
And he's shaking so much he can't get the key in the keyhole. This guy's running full speed at us. In the last second, we like slammed the door in his face, and there was like a doggy door at the bottom.
Yeah.
And the guy like reached through and grabbed my friend's ankles. It was crazy. So yeah, I definitely like the ones that get your heartbeat pumping.
I mean, I would imagine you have to sign a waiver for one like that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Greg, what was the one that we did for my birthday? Do you remember?
I don't remember what it was. I just remember we only got out of it based on pure luck. I mean, It was like
really
the last second.
We accidentally touched something that unlocked the door. There was 10
oh my god,
left.
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's like 2 or 3, and I love everyone I've done, but it's always been luck that I get out of them, not intelligence. I'll tell you that.
Oh my gosh.
I did one where you were in a garage, like a mechanic's garage, and there's a car in there that was being worked on. Well, in a can of oil, you find a key. So the key unlocks the door to the car. So you unlock the car door, and a zombie comes out, a real live actor zombie.
Oh my gosh.
And chases you around the room.
Oh, I love that.
Expecting it. It was, yeah, good time.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, they're so fun.
Now, you have a music background as well. Talk to me about how that got started. You play piano, you learn guitar, you write your own music. I tried to look up some of your stuff, and I couldn't find much, which left me very disappointed.
Yeah, so I've always been musically inclined. I'm always singing in the car and that type of stuff. But when I moved out to California, I started writing music. It was kind of like a form of me to like express myself. Anytime that I feel a very intense emotion, whether it be happy, sad, confused, anything, I like my first instinct is to write about it. And I love playing piano. I had to learn guitar for an audition actually, and I fell in love with it when I had to learn it. So I started writing on guitar as well. And I've just become really, really passionate about it over the past couple of years. And I actually recorded an original song that is unreleased. I haven't released any original music, but I do have a song that I hope I will release soon. I love it. So yeah.
That's awesome. That's something I'm definitely looking forward to.
Thank you.
You're gonna have to let us know as soon as it's out, because
100%. Yeah.
we're fans.
Are there particular roles or gigs that you're looking to get in the future outside of the Big Show?
I want to do an A24 movie so bad. I am like obsessed with A24. I want to do like a coming of age teenage movie. Like that's like my top list. It's just, I watch those movies and I like want to be them so bad. So yeah, and definitely I want to do a horror as well, because I just feel like that would be really fun to like scream my head off.
Do you have a favorite coming of age film and or horror film that you like to watch?
Oh my gosh. I think my favorite horror would be, I like weird horror. I really liked Mother with Jennifer Lawrence.
That's good.
That one was so good. And also like Hereditary, those type of movies. And then for coming of age, oh my gosh, I just watched Waves from A24 and it was insane. My friend kept insisting that I watched it, and I watched it and I like absolutely fell in love with it. I also love Alexa Demi, so she's just great. So yeah.
That's awesome. Now, season 2 of the Big Show hasn't officially been announced yet. How much are you looking forward to a potential second season? And if it happens, what do you think can we expect from season 2?
I want it so bad. Yeah, no, I'm so excited, hopefully, for a season 2. And I'm sure that it'll just be a lot of character development. I know that like with this season, I like didn't have many friends. I had like one friend from Minnesota, but I was talking to the writers and they said they're definitely going to develop my character and just a lot more fun, a lot more crazy. Our whole family's like absolutely insane. Like the circumstances that we're put into. So I'm just excited for that. And I'm so excited to just read the episodes because I love hearing what the writers come up with.
That's awesome. And do you have any words for any aspiring actors and actresses going forward?
I say this every time, and it's just my number one advice is don't take rejection to the heart, because this is an industry that you go and you present yourself for them to judge you and decide if you're fit for this role that you may or may not be fit for, and you're going to get 100 no's before you get your one yes. I know that, like, I remember being in the headspace right before I signed with my agent in California. I was thinking like, I don't want, like, I just keep getting no's. I don't want to keep being told no. I was getting really frustrated. And then the agency saw it and signed me, and that like completely reignited that flame in my heart for it. And ever since then, I've just been so passionate, and I've just learned that like you cannot take rejection to the heart, because it's the casting directors, they want to help you. They want you to be fit for the part. It's like no one's actually judging you saying like, oh, this person's a terrible actor. It's just you will or will not be fit.
Aaron, do you have anything else you want to ask?
Okay, I gotta ask this. I need a shout out from you to my 3 sons,
Of course.
Xavier, Micah, and Colton.
Okay. Hi, Xavier, Micah, and Colton. I'm so glad that you guys like the show. Thank you so much for watching it. I hope you have a wonderful day. Yeah.
That was awesome. Thank you.
You know, people usually have to pay for a cameo fee for
Yeah,
that.
a cameo. Where's my money?
Last question. I ask everybody this on the show. You know, my character as a professional wrestler and as a real person is I wrestle with cerebral palsy. So it's like a disability that affects the right side of my body. So I think I'm just a dude, but some people look at me as like an inspiration. And like, yeah, at the end of the day, I feel like I would be doing this regardless, right? So I like to ask everybody else, you know, what inspires you? What keeps you going with acting, with life? What inspires you?
I think just my biggest inspirations are mostly when it comes to acting, it's like watching the movies and the films and things, and like, it just keeps me so motivated to continue, because everything that I watch, I fall in love with. And also seeing like my family and my friends succeed makes me want to also succeed. I just, and then also I want to help people, and I want to like use my platform to help people. So I'm inspired to be better so that others can be better.
That's
Great
perfect.
answer.
That's
Yep.
perfect. Hey, the Big Show is available now on Netflix streaming. Reylynn, if people wanted to find you on social media, where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram at Reylynn, Reylynn, and then the letter C, and on Twitter at Reylynn Caster, Caster.
Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It was so much fun.